Rama Om. Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai 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 Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, yet our usual satsang. We thought we would share with you on some point raised by a devotee in his email, which was sent to us yesterday. We take it that Papa wants us to dwell more and more on the theme. His email, various other points, he was making a reference about Prema Bhakti. If Prema Bhakti state is reached, even God cannot escape from us. No, that is what you have written. Instead of our telling that we take him with him, no. He takes us. That made us to go a little more deeper about this Prema Bhakti. Prema Yoga. Normally we have heard about Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Raja Yoga also. But this Prema Yoga is something, a new word that came. Then Papa mysteriously led us to his explanation on this Prema Yoga. All of us will definitely get benefited by it. We will just first read out what Papa says about Prema. Do not divide Bhakti, Jnana and Karma as distinct limbs of yoga or different yogas. Pure Bhakti is itself fire of Jnana. The movement born of the equality of Bhakti and Jnana is itself Karma. The heart is rising in waves of Bhakti. Buddhi is enlightened with Jnana. The confluence of these two produces a blissful stream of karma for the good of humanity. Thus, the yoga that is formed of Bhakti is the perfect Prema Yoga or Yoga of love. Pure Bhakti is itself fire of Jnana. The movement of born of the equality of Bhakti and Jnana is itself karma. The heart is rising in waves of Bhakti. Buddhi is enlightened with Jnana. The confluence of these two produce, Bhakti and Jnana, the blissful stream of karma for the good of humanity. Thus the yoga is formed of Bhakti, Jnana and Karma is the perfect Prema Yoga or Yoga of love. Prema or love does not mean the emotional ebullitions of the heart. It is not the tears that flow down the eyes. It is not the mere glowing thoughts made manifest in words. Although it is made up of all these signs, Prema is still beyond them all. It is the very form and being of God Himself, shining with the lustre of perfection, in whom Bhakti, Jnana and Karma are equally embodied. Synthesis. If we would, that God who is infinite love should in all His glory reveal Himself in us, His love must reflect in our thoughts, words and deeds. That means if we want God to reveal in us, His love must reflect in our thoughts, words and deeds. Prema is composed mainly of three powers: power of forgiveness, power of compassion and power of endurance. Although we are subjected to hate, slander or persecution from others, we do not harbor thoughts of ill will or revenge towards them, but think and wish well of them. Here we exercise the power of forgiveness. Papa is elaborating on the different aspects of prema. We take the sorrows and trials of others as our own, and to bring them relief, We go forward to serve them with enthusiasm and selfless spirit. We sacrifice for the sake of our body, mind and riches. We sacrifice for their sake. Our body, mind and riches. Here we exercise the power of compassion. Number 3. We suffer to any extent in order to free others from their pains and troubles. And for gaining this end, we are prepared to cheerfully renounce all our personal pleasures. Here we exercise the power of endurance. Power of forgiveness, power of compassion, power of endurance. So definitely, we all remember, yesterday when Ram Raghav Mama came to Chennai, her ashram, when the concept of Prema Bhakthi was brewing in their mind, they asked Pujya Swamiji what name we should give. So spontaneously Swamiji said Prema Bhakthi. Actually, the Prem stands for this, nobody knew about it. It is a confluence of Bhakti, Jnana and Karma. And in Sri Ramakrishna Vadanamrita, it has been mentioned that when one reaches this Prema Bhakti, then God cannot leave us. That means we are always in His fold. We feel we are always with Him. Though we maintain His sense of individuality, we are always in His fold. Or He is always in our fold. When we were going through one portion in we have read it many a time, in the cave, at the end of Inquest of God, the outpouring we have mentioned. Now we will again read that. O Ramdas, you are in Ram and out of him. You are everywhere along with him. He is everywhere along with you. He cannot leave you. You cannot leave him. He is tied to you. You are tied to him. You are in his custody. He is in your custody. He cannot do without you. You cannot do without him. He lives in you. You live in him. Still you are his slave. And he is your protector. O Ram, thou art two, but thou art one. The lover and the loved in fast embrace become one. Two become one, and one remains everlasting, infinite, eternal love. O love, O Ram, rave on, mind charged with the madness of Ram's love. Actually, only by prompting the devotee to write something about this Prema Bhakti, Papa led us to all these things again. Look afresh. You have read here, you tried to assimilate it, some portion of it, but it is not full and comprehensive. So he again made us to go deep into it. Then we found how he has defined. So when by his grace, when he makes us know that we are in his fold, then in Srimad Bhagavad Gita he says, we will be freed from the clutches of birth and death. Because we have realized what is the eternal love, what is the eternal bliss, and not the transient bliss. So there is a beautiful sloga in Srimad Bhagavad Gita where it is explained, Mamupetya Punarjanma Dukhalema Shashvata. 8th chapter 15. Having attained me, Napnivandi Mahatmana Samshiddhim Paramam Gataha. Having attained me, the great souls are no more subject to rebirth in this world, which is transient and full of misery, because they have attained the highest perfection. When we reach the Prema Bhakthi stage, then we are relieved from the cluster house, because we are in his fold, No longer functioning as an individual, so naturally we don't have to have rebirth. When Swami Muktananda beautifully explains this, what happens when one attains God? Once God realized, the soul is liberated from the cycle of life and death. It reaches the divine abode of God and remains there forever. It does not take birth in the material world again and suffer its miseries. Life in the material world from birth till death is full of suffering. The struggle starts when he says, Dukhalema Shashvatam, how he unfolds this before us, The struggle starts inside the mother's womb itself, where we hang upside down for 9 months. Then we go through a painful process of taking birth and delivered into an unknown world, where we have to cry for every need. As we grow, we need to learn to speak, eat, walk, etc. Then comes the turmoil of adolescence, which is a mentally challenging phase. As adults, marriage and relationship test our endurance and patience to accept and accommodate individuality. We struggle to maintain social responsibilities. Then comes old age with its gifts of sickness and disease. All through our life, we suffer from pain and misery induced by our own body, mind, people, or circumstances around us. Then finally we die, which is again an extremely painful experience. From ephemeral to eternal, we should know something about the ephemerality, We think it is permanent. So, this Swamiji, Mukundananda, Mukundananda. Mukundanji Maharaj, he unfolds before us. Right from the moment we are conceived in our mother's womb, till now, the whole journey has been beautifully brought out. Why does God put us through so much pain and misery? In God's grand design, the purpose of these miseries is to realize that the material realm is not the permanent abode for the soul. It serves as a correction home. It serves as a correction home for the souls who have forgotten God and are trapped in the material world. These sufferings and miseries help the souls develop a desire for God. Consider an example of a person who accidentally put his hand on burning coal. Immediately, due to the burning sensation and pain he experiences, he withdraws his hand. What really happened here? When the man touched the hot coal, his skin started burning, and the neurons on his skin sent a message to the brain of the pain he experienced. The brain immediately sends commands to his hand muscles that remove his hand to avoid further burning and pain. Therefore, pain is a signal that something is not right and needs correction. Similarly, the pains and miseries that we experience in the material world are stimulation for us to shun our defective consciousness. These inspire and motivate the lost soul to tread towards their ultimate goal of union with God. Those worthy souls who commit themselves in exclusive devotion attain God and reach His divine abode. However, those souls who remain engrossed in material affluence and forget God continue to rotate in the cycle of birth and death. Eventually we get what we make ourselves worthy of and the endeavors we choose to undertake. So in order that we get more and more clarity on the goal to be scaled, Papa is now linking us with these slokas by introducing the word Prema Bhakti. Indirectly, invisibly, he is asking us to dwell on this Prema Bhakti. Never keep on dividing this Bhakti, Jnana and Karma academically. But at the same time, right from morning till evening, in whatever we think, whatever we talk, whatever we do, we try to remember the underlying, motivating, pulsating, supportive power, the mysterious power. And when we introduce this element in our inward journey, in our act of worship, in every act that we do as worship, and in whatever we talk, then we are slowly moving towards the Prema Bhakti. Every now and then we may feel disconnected. But because when we ponder deeply on these aspects, there will be a check on our part unconsciously whether all our acts, words and deeds conform to the Prema Bhakti. And this explanation by Swami Muktananda Maharaj that we have been given this birth only for this correction. We have forgotten our original home. So the experiences we go through in this world serve as corrective measures to think about our original home, prepare ourselves for the return to the original home, and finally mark and reach the original home. So these two words, Sukhalema Shashvatam. When we reach that, then we are free from the chain of birth and death, the wrangle of birth and death. Especially people who have had good innings in their life. When they look back, previously they were satisfied with the way in which they were living. Because the eternal nature has not been made known to them or they have not been made aware of them for reasons known only to Him. But the ephemerality is the end. Whatever we see is the end. But by His grace, if we are thus rekindled and brought home the idea that there is another level, another field beyond this ephemeral world in which we live, then we try to move towards that. And many a times we feel, no, I am not fit for inward journey. I will be happy to chant the mantra for some time and then carry on with my life. I cannot do any of these. I will try to make myself useful to the rest of the people in and around me. That is enough for me. But now we try to understand. They are all stages, no doubt. They are all needed, no doubt. They are all the beginnings, no doubt. But that is not the end. There should be a conscious effort on our part to lead to a confluence of these three. And then, as Papa now mentioned, the stage should come when at no time we are away from him. At no time he is away from us. It is beautiful. All these things, we are deeply grateful to Papa, who is seated within and who is motivating us to think on this stuff. How he brings it out, by prompting another devotee to write to us by email and made us to go to a particular his own description, and then he takes us to another interpretation of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We find, how he is holding and leading us. So let us all try to eke out the maximum benefit by his grace on remembrance of it. The purpose of taking up an in-depth study of IQG is only for this. How will I get myself connected with him throughout? What is the technique I should use to do that? Probably God would not have revealed to us the technique, but at least he has now kept us on the tempo. He is keeping the aspiration intense now. How to somehow feel that he is holding us. We don't have to struggle hard, he is holding us. The only thing is I should become aware of him. So when we say he is holding us, normally we understand the word hold, somebody catches hold. It is not that. So we need another language to interpret. That can come only by our sadhana. But at the moment he is holding us and making us to share these views, share these thoughts to his own form for the sake of his own design. This must come back to us often, no? Yes, now we also remember when this bonding has taken place, that means Papa and Ram and Ramdas are one. But when Papa as an individual was prompted to share his thoughts on his experience, suddenly he will say, Ram's will be done. 2-3 times, apparently, it was out of context. So somebody went and asked Papa, why are you telling this? Then he said, yes, I told him, who Ram inside, that it is not manners to interfere when somebody is talking. Then Papa records, Ram says, to whom are you talking? I am only there. So this Prema Bhakti, how does it express that also Papa has brought out in his life? And for our sake he has explained so beautifully. Probably we will take it in a lighter manner initially. Now we take it seriously. Now we understand the world more clearly than it was. With this background, kindly go through the in the cave. We will again read. O Ramdas, you are in Ram and out of him. You are everywhere along with him. He is everywhere along with you. He cannot leave, you cannot leave him. He is tied to you, you are tied to him. You are in his custody, he is in your custody. He cannot do without you, you cannot do without him. He lives in you, you live in him. Still you are in him. And he is your protector. O Ram. O Ram. Thou art two, but thou art one. The lover and the loved. The lover and the loved in fast embrace become one. Two become one, and one remains. Everlasting, infinite, eternal love. Two become one, and one remains. Everlasting, infinite, eternal love. O love, O Ram, rave on. Rave on, mind, charged with the madness of Ram's love. So to attain this state, upon our conscious to go deeply into the Prema Bhakthi aspect, which is the final one. As soon as we were touched and kindled on these lines, we thought we should share with you all. So please do some thinking about it. Prema Bhakti. Confluence of Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. Yes. All are dwelling on Prema Bhakti.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Swamiji, it's our request, I think, sorry may be wrong, but I feel how to take rest, Swamiji, that itself is our Prema, because you have given so much to us. So, our humble request is, again, you are giving so much. So, we are not well, so we request, take rest, that itself is for us, is blessing, Swamiji, because we are regularly listening. This is request.
Glory to him.
Maybe wrong from my end.
That means, that much concern the indwelling reality has for us. That is why he, through these snippets, he tries to keep on reminding us of the ultimate goal to be scaled. So we must all say glory to him for facilitating everything for us. And again pray. Pray in our own language. We should touch and kindle to express in our own language, the language of love, to him. Kindly make us aware that you are holding us. We are still thinking, we are trying to reach you. We are doing all the sadhanas to feel your presence. But the truth is, you are holding us. Only because we have got sense of individuality with body, mind, and attitude. So you are holding us. And if I become aware of it, nothing else I need. There ends all my sadhana. I am fully secure in His hand. I don't have to think here and there. I don't have to look up to anything there. So that stage, that we must pray, we must appeal, we must plead for His immediate intervention and then make us aware of it. It is very touching, very touching. That is why we couldn't contain ourselves. We wanted to immediately share with you all. Yes?
Hari Om Swamiji, Pranam.
Hari Om. Pranam.
That definition of pain that we learned here now, it is very nice. We feel always that when we say Ram Nam, everything should be alright. It is not like that. Some moments may come when we need some correction in life. That is pain. It shows, Papa shows that they are the events there where you are shown something needs correction. In life, material life cannot be same and continuous, consistent. Something is going to go wrong. So, that definition of pain, I liked it very much. It is not something that God wants to hurt us. He wants to show us that we have to correct ourselves somewhere.
Correct. Beautiful. Yes, correct. Good.
Hari Om Swamiji, Sadar Pranam.
Hari Om. Sadar Pranam.
Swamiji, from this talk we can believe that love is the most important factor. If we love worldly things, then we achieve worldly things. But when we love God, so we have to convert our full love, all love towards God. So once it is converted,
God, exclusive.
Yes.
Quite right. We have been giving that love to so many of His creation without knowing Him, without knowing that He is the Creator. The moment we know that the creation is His creation, then the love becomes love. Otherwise the love becomes attachment. So He is making us aware, it is alright you express your love for my creation, but know that they are my creation, not your relation. My creation is that bhavana. That is why now it's becoming clear, Papa will never say renunciation. Papa will say expansion.
Yes.
Previously we were identifying with a small circle. Now we are trying to expand our circle of love. So from the small to the big, that's all. In which the small also remains there. Because everywhere He is He. We all get into some notion, renunciation means, cutting off from this and that. Initially it might be the first step, but later on we come to realize ourselves that if He is there in everybody. That is why Papa himself in IQG, when the ticket inspector asked, when you say God is everywhere, what is the need for you to go in search of Him, in quest of Him? Then Papa immediately answered, yes, God is there everywhere, but He wants Ramdas to get proved that He is everywhere. So that means, otherwise, it doesn't become steady and strong. Vinobaji used to say that when some spiritual aspirants, when they go to Himalayas or any cave, and when they withdraw themselves from it, from everything, and then finally get stabilized, finally feel that they get stabilized in the core of their being. And when they come out, and when they go to one house for Bhiksha, and when they knock the door, and if it is not opened or some other sound comes, he immediately shouts. Why, the experience he had while he was in solitude, if it is real, it should be reflected everywhere, no matter whether he is inside the cave or outside the cave. But when his mind was defining that this is the core of my being, whereas actually the mind cannot define that. The tiny, unique mind intellect cannot define or limit. When he comes out, he finds the paradox. So that is why Papa said, in order to make him know that he is everywhere, he is now taking him. So we can take it like this. When love is given, we are all loving. Number of people, number of institutions, number of objects also, number of situations. But we don't do it with the feeling that either God has provided or God is there, no? So that means we develop likes and dislikes, attachment and aversion, which is not helpful ultimately. So this point has been raised very good. Collect all the love that we have been giving to so many and give it to him. Means not that we are withdrawing from the outer world, but we are trying to see him in a see them not as your relation or your friend and love. This is the message, These are all some rays of Prema Bhakti.
Swamiji?
Yeah.
Swamiji, Hariom.
Hariom.
Loving, doing anything with love, knowing that you are being loved all the time by Papa, that makes a lot of difference in our attitude, right? There is an assurance, yes.
I would say that is probably at the initial stage. And later on, we should know that he is everywhere. We keep on hammering this at the intellectual level, doesn't matter. Intellectual level, so that the moment we violate the eternal law of finding fault or grumbling or complaining or anything, becoming aware that of the insufficiencies or inadequacies, immediately we get corrected. This intellectual assimilation definitely helps us to a certain extent, no doubt. So now Papa is giving us all these thoughts so that it cannot be simply filed. It has to have its own deep, indelible impression. It gets imprinted on our heart. So that when we deal with men and matter, we are slightly due to our, baggage, due to our deficiencies, we might slip. But in the shortest possible time, this subtle awareness will pull us up. And warn us, what are you doing? Now we remember one dialogue, many decades back. We were in a lodge working in Chennai. On Sunday, one friend used to come. We spent a lot of time on Gandhiji's life and mission. So one day when he came, we were going through Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He immediately came and closed it. We were reading, immediately closed. And then asked straight one question. If somebody comes here with some prefixes, like his religion, like his approach to God, approach to anything, in a varied way. If three people from different characteristics, with different characteristics, if they come and stand before you, did you see them as equal? You were taken aback, It is a direct question. Three people of different temperaments, when they come with a different background, cultural background, when they come and stand before you, will you treat them as equal? We murmured, we are trying. We were cornered. Immediately he said, what is the use of reading this? Why we remember, that means whenever we have not studied ourselves, we have not have our foothold strongly in it. When we are likely to waver, God comes in some form and pulls us up. You are reading Bhagavad Gita and you are telling that you are struggling. Then what is the use of this book then? Once you read, you must put it in your life. Otherwise, don't open that book. You are not entitled to open that book. And he is a person who is not traditionally following any of the spiritual disciplines, which normally we, attribute. He is very blunt, simple man. He will never follow any of the traditional ways. But 24 karat, I should say. Human values, spiritual values, he won't say spiritual values, but values are there in every action of his. And we used to spend. So we remember that. So whenever we are wavering, whenever we are not firm in our thinking, God, out of His love, brings about in such a way that we are pulled up and made aware of the seriousness and the direction. Today when we are telling that He is holding us, this particular anecdote comes back to us. It must have been in mid-60s. Now we remember, yes, he attributed, for his, he is a great man, he is a noble man, that's all. We never brought God into the picture. But now we are all realizing that every experience He gave us, and whenever we, because of our old habits, whenever we come down and start viewing at the individual level, He has in His own way devised some methods to pull us up. Anyway, when you said that, you made us to remember this. Very good. Yes.
Swamiji, Pranam. So that means it is understood that what Papa means by love, it is not human level love. It is much more higher than this. Being good to others or expecting goodness from others is not at all that what Papa is telling. There is more of understanding, sympathy or empathy and forgiveness, compassion for others. Or is it more than that?
More than. It is all these and then more than that. Is it apart, transcending all these? That is why you remember he mentioned once, to love all is to love none. No?
Yes.
Because to love all means love as we understood as you said, the love which we have defined as love. No. That is to love none. The love of all means the eternal love. Where there is no otherness. Where there is no otherness, then you don't specify that love at all. Because if you say you are two, then you don't have to define that I love them. There is no need. There is no object to be loved. Because every object is a manifestation. That is called absence of otherness. So by love he means absence of otherness. Not the love that we talk of. Because our love is relative, We have understood love because we don't love others. That is why we say we love this person. When there are some loved categories and unloved categories, then we say the loved category becomes conspicuous. He makes us to go deep into it. That is why he said to love all is love.
So that stage we have to strive to achieve, no Swamiji? Once we achieve that stage, only then I think these qualities will enter into or manifest.
So we keep on now affirming,
Yes.
That we remember the teacher when he says, you write this. We believe in him. When he made us to go through the conjugation of work, at that time we did not know that it will serve us to handle the language beautifully. But we believed in him. And the outcome is that we can express our feelings and thoughts through that language. Similarly, we believe in the words of masters and we do the practice intensely. The outcome has to come. And here the outcome is to become aware that he is holding us. Or we are holding either of these. Both are free.
Hari Om Swami. Thank you so much.
It will make us connect with this discussion today. It's for this purpose that I am chanting. It is for this purpose that I am doing puja. It is for this purpose I am doing sadhyaya. It is for this purpose I am attending satsang. It is for this purpose that I am involved in so-called labeled self-help activities. Like that, I try to bring all these. Probably that might give an impetus, hasten our progress towards.
That itself may mean karma yoga, no Swamiji? For every action which is, that may mean karma yoga.
That is not limit to karma yoga. We are talking about Prema yoga.
Prema yoga.
Confluence of these three. Jnana, Bhakti and Karma. All are valid. All are valid and needed. Papa's line of approach in spirituality is, there is a confluence of this. That is why we find there is no dryness in his approach. Pure jnana means dryness. So it is necessary for people like us, who are in the midst of various activities, we cannot be dry. We enjoy only when there is a paste of love. In some form it should. So the bhakti is there. But at the same time, Papa will say bhakti not to a particular line of worship or a form of worship or a particular concept of worship. No. Prema Bhakti says he is always conscious that Ram is there everywhere in all forms, in varied forms. That is his bhakti. So it is similar to a synonym of jnana only. I am Brahman. Tattvamasi. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma.
Hari Om Swamiji, in this context, can you explain Mataji's love with jnana? Swamiji?
So that means we should get away with instead of seva. So this approach has been confluence which is he is expressing it. So we never knew that it is Prema Yoga. Or when Pujya Swamiji named this we never understood the real significance. That they should become a center where we are reminded of the confluence of these three approaches to God as one single unitary approach, not as three different units. Yes, you were telling something.
Can you connect with Jnana with Mataji's love, Swamiji? How is connected Mataji's love with Jnana and other things?
If you go through how she has explained about great void, do we need any other proof? Nirguna. She used to define Papa as Nirguna Nirakara Nirvikara Shashwata Ananda Swarup. Nirguna Nirakara Nirvikara Shashwata Ananda Swarup. Well rooted in the Jnana.
Mataji's love, I want to get everything. Mataji's love, the greatest love.
So the love and seva rooted in the knowledge. No? So there is a confluence when we go through her life. There is a confluence of all these three. Again, it is Prema Yoga.
Swamiji, our imagination also cannot beat that. Swamiji, our imagination also cannot beat what Mataji has said about us.
Correct.
Yes.
So everybody could understand.
Swamiji, the freedom fighters were there. They were, I think their love is Prema love, Swamiji. Because they are not bothered about anything. They are family or themselves. They were actually, it can be compared, sir, Swamiji, freedom fighters.
They were able to raise themselves from the individual level. No doubt, they were able to raise themselves from the individual level. Their individual care and concern was not there. Many freedom fighters left everything, even their family, their profession, plunged into the movement for the betterment of others. Whether they have brought in the dimension or not, that we don't know, only that individual will know. They would have done it, but if they want to be the real beneficiaries, then the other Gandhiji was bringing God into the picture. He said, whatever I do, whether it is in the social plane or on the family level or on the any other plane, it is all towards realizing God.
Like that.
We may see it as he was trying to transform the society, he was trying to pinpoint the deficiencies of the society, but no. Every act, his own words are there. Ultimately for God realization. So it was not a social service. It was a service unto him. How many
even many like Mahakavi, Bharati, there are so many freedom fighters are there, no? Like him. Many, not only himself, many.
Neelaman, you wanted to say something?
Yes.
Hello?
Hari Om Swamiji,
Yes.
Pranam. Swamiji, this brings this discussion today, chapter 15, Christ, a messenger of God.
16.
15. 1-5.
Jagannath Puri.
No, Swamiji. Christ, a messenger of God.
15.
1-5.
Christ the messenger of God.
Yeah. So, what we are discussing, just towards the end, Swamiji, last but one paragraph.
Yeah.
He says, O Ram, O Christ, thou hast a strange way of testing thy humble slave. O Ram, thou art a mystery, but thou art love, kindness itself. He who trusts thee, O Ram, is sure of thy entire support. This is all one can know of thee, and that is sufficient. But what touched me, to understand thy ways is not only impossible, but also unnecessary for thy humble devotee. So, whatever test we are going through, we don't know. They just come to make us grow and to, and then he gives the example, to bask in the sunshine of thy infinite love is itself the highest happiness. A child asks for the love of the mother and gets it and is satisfied. Where is then room for asking for anything else? So, the love, time and again, Papa mentions, the love is so deep and everything he brings to kindness. Anything happens. So, the ways are mysterious and we do not know. But when we reflect our life, that whatever happened, the test or the challenge is for our own good only. That's what I felt.
Yes, when you mentioned it, then it's nice that you made a reference of this. The way to understand thy ways is not only impossible, but also unnecessary for thy humble slave, for thy humble devotees. Because unnecessary means, if I am trying to understand that, means I am not well rooted in it. The moment I get rooted, then I don't have to check up whether this one is there, that one is there. All I see only, when I am selective, that means there are some portions where I still don't bring him into the picture. There only I struggle to understand. So in his case, when he was thoroughly established in it, there was no need for him to know also. To understand thy way is not only impossible, but also unnecessary for thy humble soul. To bask in the sunshine of thy infinite love is in itself the highest happiness. The child asks for the love of the mother, gets it, satisfied. Where is then room to ask for anything more than this?
So no questions.
Connected to interest of God.
So no questions asked. Whatever happens, no questions. This is thy way, his way be done. Thy will, not my will. Very good,
very good, very good. So,
Hari Om Swamiji, this is
yes.
Vidya. Hari Om Swamiji.
Yes.
Swamiji, this is Vidya. If you remember me,
Yeah.
I had come to Anandashram. Yeah. Vidya Shinde. I'm in London now and I'm watching this from London.
Okay.
Yeah. So Swamiji, some incident happened and Papaji brought me back to him. I was going through some problem in my life and I called you in Anandashram and Shraddha gave me the link to attend this Satsang and I think I found the answers. I got my answer and I'm very, very thankful to Papaji because it was him who brought me to this Satsang, I can say. And whatever questions people asked and the answers that you gave, I think I found my answers. The problem was not to punish me, but to correct me and to bring me back on the right path. And that's the message I got from this Satsang. Thank you very much.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Glory to him for facilitating everything for us. In some form or other, he brings all these dimensions.
Yeah, and when I come back,
do come.
Yeah, when I come back to India, definitely, yeah, I'll come to Anandashram.
Oh, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Om
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om.
ఆయుధ తీసుకున్నాం శ్రీరామ జయ రామ జయ జయ రామ
శ్రీరామ జయ రామ జయ జయ రామ. ఓం శ్రీరామ జయ రామ జయ జయ Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Dina,
Hari Om.
Come on, very well.
Thank you,
Very
Hari Om.